Hi, thanks for watching a new video blog. Today from Tbilisi in Georgia. Now when you talk about overpopulation and countries that are overpopulated, I disagree on that. I disagree that there is such a thing as overpopulation, and I have very good reasoning for that. And I explain it, for example, in this video. I explain exactly why it is false. Now that video is a bit more philosophical. So today I want to provide a practical video where I can demonstrate that there is not such a thing as overpopulation. That is a myth. Because I grew up in the Netherlands. And the Netherlands is one of the most overpopulated countries on earth. I guess it's in maybe the top 10 of countries that are overpopulated. There's only just a few places that are more overpopulated, and for example like Hong Kong, Singapore, Monaco. But yeah, those are not really like countries. You can say they're more like states. So the Netherlands scores very high on the ranking of overpopulation. Just a fact. And as I already said, I grew up in the Netherlands. I've been living there my whole life. Up until recently, I decided to leave the country, and one of the reasons was the overpopulation. But it's only overpopulated in certain areas. It's called the Randstad. It's like a triangle of Amsterdam, Rotterdam, Utrecht, and The Hague falls inside that triangle. And only there you can say, yeah, that is maybe in some places overpopulated. But that's because it's unnatural. It's an unnatural situation where people are just living shoulder to shoulder, very close to each other, in an unnatural way, in a civilized way. It's not how nature normally works. We don't live in cities. We live in nature. We are nomadic. And when we settle somewhere, we always settle with animals, and we don't practice agriculture naturally. It's something artificial. And from an artificial situation, you get, of course, also unnatural living conditions like overpopulation. And then you can debate on what is really overpopulation. But let's say that it is a modern thing that is caused by civilization and agriculture. Because with agriculture people had to settle down, stick to one place, not be nomadic anymore, not move around, but they were attached, locked in a certain space, a certain living area. When they were nomadic, they were traveling around with their animals, or they were hunter-gatherers, but they were moving around. And this is not happening when you practice agriculture. That's the main difference. You settle. You say this place is now ours. You don't say we are part of nature. We just travel through nature because we can go anywhere. You say no, we own this very place. Now that is what's happening when the formation of cities started. It's the effect of agriculture. Because this means that one is taking care of, well, let's say the food, which are mostly plants, but yeah, they are not really foods, of course. We don't eat plants naturally. But you can say that, yeah, that is where cities started. And because it's not in our natural instincts and behavior to live like that, to like stick to one place, to settle, to be dependent on the soil that you're living on, because you put plants there and you harvest them and then you say, oh, we have food, instead of moving around, hunting, or just traveling with your animals and living off their milk and their meat. So that is where it all went wrong. And still, the Netherlands, even though it's one of the most overpopulated places, better to say that the population density is very high compared to other places. And still, with this high population density, about 70% of the Netherlands is just empty. Everybody that has been to the Netherlands can agree that if you fly over the Netherlands with an airplane, if you're landing to Schiphol Airport, Amsterdam, you can see just endless fields of farmland, of water, endlessly, and nobody's living there. It's all empty. Now you might say like, yeah, but that's farmland, they use it to grow food, but still it's empty. And if we would reverse back to the hunter-gatherer or nomadic lifestyle, then these lands will be grasslands where animals can chew their grass and live, and we could move around. Because you can see that, for example, in Amsterdam, on a very small space, there's about 1 million people living. 1 million people living in a very small place. And they could all move to all the empty space around Amsterdam. Of course, the whole Schiphol place wouldn't be needed, because nobody would use an airplane anymore. But even still, if you look at the civilized way, the Netherlands is basically empty. It's one of the most densely populated places, but still it is very empty. Again, if you would fly over the Netherlands, you can see miles and miles of emptiness, farmlands, grasslands, fields, also a lot of water, where, for example, in the Philippines people would live on, they would have boats and they would live on the water. And it's all unused. A few boats here and there, but nobody's actively living on the water. It's only in Amsterdam on the canals, but it's all empty. Nobody's living on the water. And if you go outside of this triangle, Amsterdam, Rotterdam, The Hague, Utrecht, then it will be even emptier. There are whole states in the Netherlands that are basically empty. A few small villages, but the rest, there's nothing. It's not much. Totally empty. And the Netherlands is a very small country. Like size-wise, it's very small. And even that small country with a high population, high density population, even that country still is for about 70% empty. There's nothing there. So the whole myth that there is an overpopulation problem, go to the Netherlands. Go to see states like Friesland, Groningen, Drenthe, Overijssel, Gelderland, Zeeland, Noord-Holland. And I'm talking about the northern part of Noord-Holland. Limburg. The only places that are sort of like maybe highly in the population density are Zuid-Holland, Utrecht and Brabant. The rest is just, it's empty. Yeah, and part of the southern part of Noord-Holland, okay. Even the new state that we created, Flevoland, practically empty. There are two cities, Almere and Lelystad. In between, there could be like 5 more cities. Not that I say that I want that, but to show that there is no overpopulation. It's just a myth. Especially when you turn natural. When we would say, okay, we go all back to nature, we will live naturally, especially then, it is empty. And I'm saying it as a Dutchman, growing up in the Netherlands, knowing the country, traveled through all the country many times, from north, south, east, west, wherever, and I can say that the majority of the country is totally empty, is even suffering from underpopulation in the regions that are named. The major problem is underpopulation. So yeah, even if it's from such a overpopulated country, it's not overpopulated. So that was for today. From Tbilisi, Georgia, I say thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.